Welcome to a Friday Reads, where I talk about what I read, what I'm reading, what I hope to get to next. And yeah, let's just get into it. I've finished some things, I've bought a thing, I'm tentatively thinking of future reading plans. Starting with the first thing I finished since we last talked, The Last Contract of Asako. Very, very, very good. I'm honestly pretty impressed with what she chose to do with it. I think if you like Star Wars and John Wick, you might like this book. It is incredibly action-packed. So if you do not like action, you might not like this. And I do really like what it chooses to do with its second part. I can't imagine many people not liking the second part. I think it's really compelling. And I think, there was a long time at the end of the book when I was reading it, and I was like, what are we doing with this? Where are we going with this? If this is the beginning in a world, this is a standalone thought in that world. And there was no indication to me on the back or anywhere else that this is the start of a series. And when we get to the end, and the choices that our main characters have to make within the confines of the system we've been exploring, because it was very obvious from very early on that this is not a we are changing the universe story. This is not a rebellion story. This is not that. I was just very interested. And I think, when I first finished it, I was like, wow, I don't know what I expected, but I guess maybe not that, but is that the perfect way to end it? And I think I'm leaning more towards that. So yeah, I don't usually like action-packed things, but Fondly truly always knows how to deliver. This is easily probably going to make it to my best books of the year. Probably. Especially best new releases of the year. For sure. I had a great time with it. If you like plot-forward books, if you want a sci-fi book that deals with contracted out, very samurai fighting, what are they called? People who give you advice. Advisors. Oh, the brain. This was great. I enjoyed exploring the world. I enjoyed exploring the dilemmas of Asako. It definitely works for Reddit. She is 50. All right. Next up, I did not expect to finish this, but I had insomnia brain, and this is a page turner. This is an airport read, if I've ever had an airport read, and that is There Is No Antimemetics Division. Okay, so this is a 200-some page book. Less than 300, more than 250, I think. So it's short. It's snappy. I know it was serialized and then also combobbled into this story that we have here. It is cosmic sci-fi horror. More cosmic horror than sci-fi, although sci-fi, I guess, is kind of a part of it. But if you want grounding, I would lean more into the cosmic horror because, cosmic horror doesn't try to explain itself. Now, what I thought was fun is, again, the pacing was great. Page turning, untethered, creepy, weird stuff happening, a lot of messy stuff with memory, which just adds to the atmosphere of the unreliable narratorness, the what's happening. It's very much like watching TV. So I don't think this happens on Black Mirror. It happens a little bit in Doctor Who, but you're watching episodic TV and it's really engaging. Each episode just has you on the edge of your seat, and then you learn, and these episodes are connected, and there's a bigger thing. You get that energy. That's really fun. I find that very entertaining. And it generally, I think, does okay payoff on that promise. Your mileage will vary. It's still cosmic horror. Cosmic horror doesn't try to make sense. It doesn't really try to explain itself. I found this more cathartic than a lot that I've read. One of my things with Area X and Annihilation is I never really know what's happening. I really just don't know what's happening. And I know that's kind of the point, but I also feel like I should know a little bit. This is not nearly thematically as nuanced as Annihilation. It does not have the beautiful descriptions of Annihilation. But I got some answers that I was like, cool, I'll take these answers. I had questions. You gave me some answers. I accept the terms of this contract. And I really enjoyed where we ended up. I was curious how we would get there, and it got a little muddy near the end, but not too bad. And so, again, if you need a page turner, an entertaining time, something like We Used to Live Here, but again, that's more normal horror. This is more, like, that's more liminal space horror. This is cosmic horror. Like, if there are some imageries you do not like that involve arachnids, be wary. But in general, I really enjoyed it. I only read it because one of my friends in town was reading it, and I think he wanted it to be more grounded. He didn't like it necessarily as much. He liked the first half more than the second. For me, it was relatively as strong all the way through. But I do believe it'll leave my brain, because even putting this video together, I had forgotten that I had read this book. Now, it was great to read while I had no brain cells, but I needed to stay awake. Like, super entertaining. So if you want entertainment, this was good. Do I think it deserved to be on the best books that came out in the sci-fi genre in the last 5 years? Goodreads? No. But that's why I made my own video on that, which most of you have watched. So thank you. I really enjoyed making that video. I just like gushing about books I like. Next up that I am reading. Now I'm in the middle of books. So let's first talk about All Hail Chaos, right? Is that what it's called? The second book in this series. I am liking it a lot more than the first book. I still don't think I have the character connection that I want, but I'm liking it enough that, like, when the third book comes out, I might reread it and see if I can get that character connection on reread now that I understand its project. I think the first book, I had a real dissonance with how our main character, Ray, was handling the situation she was thrown into. I still think some of the decisions made in the first book are stupid to me. There's definitely a lot of that, but also I think now that we actually get to learn more about her, I think there's a little bit more plausibility for me that I can bring into, like, why she acts the way she does. There's still just dialogue choices that I don't enjoy. Maybe it's not being acted out well in my head or the audiobook. I think they're just weird, stilted audio choices at times. In a relatively well thought out and everything else. So I think it has to be intentional, but I just don't enjoy it. I would not recommend this to people who have been reading what romantasy has currently been. Because it has romantic pairings, but it's not about that, like, at all. It's closer to what Throne of Glass is, which Throne of Glass is not really a romantasy in the same way that ACOTAR is. But even then, it's not quite like that. Like, I would say that, like, Throne of Glass focuses a bit more on the character dynamics. This one, the second book, I'm enjoying how we're playing with the meta-narrative a bit more. There are some perspectives I really want. There's a lot of perspectives. First book, I feel like we had, like, only Ray's perspective. Maybe I'm misremembering, but we didn't have that many perspectives. In this one, we got a lot, and I'm enjoying it. I think we had more than Ray in the first book. We probably had Marius too and stuff like that. But in this one, we got a lot, and I'm enjoying that. I am enjoying how we're playing with a lot of pulpy fantasy tropes, now that the cringe dialogue is not as apparent all the time. And I do like the scenario we're in this book more than the scenario we were in the first book, now that I have, like, more context. So for me, the first book's like a 3.5 star. This has potential to be a 4 star. I'm enjoying it. Now, am I enjoying it enough that I'm finding times to listen to the audiobook? No, that's why it's taken me so long. Like, if I had had my work week to commute, I would be done with this already. But I haven't needed to drive anywhere. I haven't had to do a lot of yard work. I've been reading physically with my patrons for our readathon, so it just hasn't been a priority. And all my crochet time has been suffering during playoff games. So being a Clevelander is hard. Okay, it's hard. Next up, I have been reading Isles of the Emberdark. So, like, in my thumbnail, this is my version. It's all pretty in, you know, its casing. I do love, like, and I will die on this hill. This is how special editions should be. They're easy to open. They essentially, like, when I have it in my lap, hardback stays open. It's not crying at me. I don't hear a wail from the glue breaking apart. Looking at you, Illumicrate and Fairy Loot. Like, if this was a Fairy Loot book, it would open this much. Okay? Like, that's how it would work. Also, sorry to future editing me. That's probably going to be a bad sound to edit down. This is, I was actually talking about this a lot in Patreon when we were doing our readathon sprints. So, there is a novella called The Sixth of Dusk that I really love. It's a planet with these birds. You really know that Sanderson loves birds, and if you didn't know, Sanderson loves birds. He loves them. And these birds can give off gifts, and we follow a character who is like an old school trapper, and he's having to deal with modernity. And like, it's a pretty interesting like novella. And it has a really nice ending. This is taking place 5 years after that novella. Dusk is still in it, and then we have a second character, Starling. And I am enjoying all of it approximately equally, especially because there is just so much that you're just learning about. I cannot imagine what reading this would be like to someone who this was their first Sanderson. Like, it doesn't mean you can't. Like, I am still a true proponent of read what interests you. Do it. But, like, there are so many new things even for me in this book that if I didn't have the grounding of some of the things I knew, I just don't know how overwhelmed with proper nouns and knowledge I would be. You know, it's just something like that. I do think something that I've been missing from Sanderson's works in the secret projects like this versus others is atmosphere. Like, I just don't think he's bringing atmosphere to his works when he's writing these shorter things. Like, when his works are less than 600 pages, he's not really, like, bringing that. The exception being Mistborn Era 2, I do think actually brings across that industrial steampunk energy to me. But, like, you read Mistborn, love it or hate it, like, it feels, like, oppressively, like, I don't know if gothic's the right word, but, like, you can feel like you're in a dark area, ash is falling, the buildings are so spiky and pointing, and you're an assassin on a roof. Like, there's an atmosphere to it that I don't quite get in Tresses the Endless Sea, or Sunlit Man, or Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and a little bit to an extent this. This one, though, I am enjoying because we get to spend time in a part of the Cosmere that normally when I've gotten to spend time in that part of the Cosmere, I am like, I don't want to be here right now. I want to be over there. And in this case, since the main point is to be in the cognitive realm, that's like the main point of this book, I don't care that much, because I'm like, cool, let's be here, teach me the physics of this weird place. Let's go. Because I do always love learning the physics of a weird Sanderson place. Like, that's just who I am, and this book feeds me. And Dusk is really cool, and Starling is a dragon, and, like, we have, like, I don't know why I never thought dragons would enter the Cosmere. We didn't get a dragon until Tress in the Emerald Sea. And maybe there were mentions of it. I don't know. I'm not like someone with a fine-tooth comb, like, going through the pages. But Tress was the first time we had a dragon. And now, like, I have this other dragon. Like, I'm meeting dragons left and right. And I'm like, when did dragons enter the Cosmere? And that's what I mean. Like, there's just, like, so many new things. And I get it. His publishing company's called Dragonsteel. He grew up with fantasy that's all about dragons. Like, I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm surprised. But Starling is very interesting. I probably relate to Starling more than most. She's a big optimist, and I'm always a pretty big optimist. I'm like a realist optimist. But, like, when given the choice between spinning something in a positive lens or a negative lens, I tend to go the positive lens. Barring it doesn't mean that I'm not preparing for the worst. I'm typically still always preparing for the worst. Because anxiety brain. So yeah, this has been interesting. I don't think I'm going to finish it when I wanted to, but that's okay. I just haven't had a lot of physical reading time because I was prepping for my classes that start next week. I am really vibing with this black paper, though. I don't know how expensive it is to make black paper. This is great. And, like, I like it so much more than sprayed edges. So, like, when I'm in the white pages and I have to see the sprayed edges, I don't like it. But when I'm on the black pages, it feels good. So those are the things I'm reading. I don't think I'm reading anything else there. Up next physically, and I don't know if I'll bring this copy or if I will get it on my Kindle, but this is another book that I really wanted to get to this month. Pink Slime. It's my TBR spin book, and it will finish another Herket Square. Like, this is gonna finish 2 Herket Squares. This is gonna finish a Herket Square. Yeah. I might also start... It's the second book in these Burning Stars I don't remember what it's called. Something void. It's purple. This will also really help me for her kid. And it's one of my Patreon buddy reads. The last thing I'll show you guys, though, is I was just at my favorite bookstore. And I was just suddenly like, why do you have this book? I want this book. And so it's like the first Emily Tesh, Silver in the Wood, which I believe is part of a duology. He didn't have the second one, otherwise I would have bought that. And I guess like part of me was like, you should read this first and make sure you like it. So yeah, it's so cute. It's so small. I don't know what it's about. It says, there is a wild man who lives in the deep quiet of Green Hollow and he listens to the wood. I don't know. I'm pretty much like 2 for 2 on Emily Tesh, so like what do I have to lose here? It's like 105 pages, right? And then I got to have another Fox bookmark, which I'm obsessed with these. Absolutely obsessed. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. TV-wise, like I said, it's just a lot of sports and being depressed by sports continuously. Yeah. Maybe by the time you're seeing this video, I'll be less depressed. Who knows? I'm filming this after the first game in the Knicks-Cavs series, and it was... like, I can't even be that upset about it. Like, it's so funny. Like, I watched the 7th game of the previous series, and I was so stressed the whole time, even when we were up by like 25, 35 points. I was like, no, we're going to find a way to screw this up. And they're like, no, the Cavs aren't like that. That's like other Cleveland teams. Like, you don't know. You don't know. And then, lo and behold, 7 minutes left of the game, 22 points up, still somehow lose in overtime. Go figure. Depression. Tonight I am going to go see a watch party for the Monsters, and hopefully they'll win this game, and then we'll be up in that series, because I would love the Monsters to keep going. They've honestly, like, that's been such a fun team, because it's the only team that I actually watch with regularity, and I've been seeing them at least once a month since October. And they've really gotten so much better. And it's really cool to see how much better they are now versus the opening game, which I saw. I finally got myself a crew neck, so I'm going to wear that tonight, because it's actually cold today. It's been very warm this week in a way that has been unpleasant to all involved. So yeah, let me know what you're reading, doing, or watching. If you just want to leave an emoji to let me know you're here. I don't think there's a Cthulhu emoji. But maybe leave an octopus emoji. You know, anything that makes you think of Cthulhu. Do that for the cosmic horror I read. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.